What's up, everybody? Really appreciate you all for tuning in. Let's talk a little bit about this thing with Dak Prescott. I know. Leverage. Who got it? The Joneses or Dak Prescott and company? Now, leverage is something that you can use to proposition yourself into a better situation. My thing is, we can look at it and say, well, if the Joneses trying to work this thing out as it relates to doing what's best by Dak Prescott, they will go ahead and sign him. Now, I do know that on the upper end of it, a lot of people will say, man, don't you know how many draft picks you can get by signing Dak Prescott and then putting it out there that you would like to trade, sign and trade? I think that somebody would probably give him a king's ransom. Not him, but the actual Dallas Cowboys. Now, I heard that from Adam Schefter. He said that this offseason should be one of the better offseason as it relates to Dak Prescott conversation. Everybody knows that they love to talk about the Dallas Cowboys. Well, who would want Dak Prescott? Law, who would love to have Dak Prescott outside of Dallas Cowboys and outside of what the Joneses exhibited out there for all of these years? I think that the 49ers, that's what he's saying, Adam Schefter, the Jets, the Saints, the Colts. You see what I'm going with this? Oh, why the Saints? Well, Breeze is long in the tooth, and they can only imagine to have a quarterback like Dak Prescott working under Sean Payton. A lot of things can go along that way, right? So that is the whole entire conversation there. Who can benefit by having Dak Prescott? And remember, famous philosopher said, do not spoil what you have by desiring the things that you don't, because at some point of time, the thing that you do have for something that you wish for, long for. A lot of teams may look at the Dak Prescott angle and say, hey, he's a solid guy. We can work with him. Whereas our fan base, I'm talking about the Dallas Cowboys, collectively, not everybody, look at it like, hey, we some spoiled little brats. We want this, we want that. We want a Super Bowl every year. We got an owner who loved to showcase his, I guess, marketing power and show to the world that, hey, I'm Jerry Wayne Jones. And then you have John Stephen Jones walking in his footsteps with the Johnny Walker Blue. So we got all of those things working against us. Now, the Dallas Cowboys, we know that they say a lot of things. Jerry Jones said, hey, I'm willing to change. Like a zebra can go out there and say, hey, I'm going to be a Mustang. You know, zebras going to always have their stripes, right? Right? We can say that this would do this and that would do that, but it don't work that way. It definitely do not, because when we start, come and just rock with me. When we start thinking about this team and what they're going to do in the draft, will it be BPA? Will it be, hey, let's go trade back, trade down? All I can say is, Cowboy Nation, the Joneses, what they should do is do not try to get too cute with this thing. Let me repeat, do not try to get too cute with this thing. Best player available. And if tags are touching, and one being the offensive guy and the other being the defensive guy, come rock with the nation. You better lean on that defense. You already know what I'm about to say, Cowboy Nation. Defense wins what? Defense wins what? Defense wins championships in games too, according to the stats and stuff like that. My thing is, put it like this. Okay, on our offensive side of the ball, where are our issues? I can say this, backup quarterback is one. I don't want to hear people talk about Andy Dalton this, and he didn't have this, and he didn't have that. Let's be real with it, okay? Like Michael Irvin said, when he was the starter, he was the worst quarterback. He may be a good backup, but when he was the starter, he was the worst quarterback in the NFL. Well, one of them, you know. So my thing is, let's not build our future on Andy Dalton as being the backup quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. Let's look into the future. Okay, where else we have holes at on this particular offensive side of the ball? One can argue and say offensive line, but not everybody privy to have number one talent across the board on the offensive line, right? We became so happy about, hey, we have a Tyron Smith, we have a Travis Frederick, a Zach Martin. Spoiled. Not everybody have number ones across the board on that offensive line. But let's just move over to the defensive side. Is it scheme or is it players? Now, I will say this with this particular team. Mike Nolan, everywhere he's been ranked on the bottom half as it relates to statistical categories. Now, I will tell you guys this as well. Not everybody's lying. Not everybody's out to get you and put out false things about you. So it got to be something with Mike Nolan, whether it be just karma, whether it just be that the guy got bad luck, he walked under a ladder, bust a few mirrors. I don't know. I digress. Now, my dog, Mark Holmes, did call into the show. We had a live feed, and he personally knows Demario Davis. Demario Davis worked or was one of Mike Nolan's guys when he played for the Saints or what have you. And he said Mike Nolan, hands down, is a good guy. Knows how to call and develop things as it relates to the linebacker play. Sometimes you can be good at a few things, but not good at many. And I think that being a head defensive coordinator or defensive coordinator in general, that's many hats. And I'm not trying to look for a scapegoat. I'm not trying to say that the guy should fall on the sword. But it seems as if, though, not everybody's lying on you, Mike Nolan. Maybe, just maybe, you could be a linebackers guy. Maybe you can get a demotion and they don't kick you out of the whole entire frame. Because I know you boys with Mike McCarthy. That's all I'm going to say on that. But from the defensive perspective, where are our issues at? One can argue that we have issues with, front four? Whether it be interior or inconsistencies with the edge rushers, or we have issues at linebacker play. What do you know? That's another subgroup right there. Okay, we got issues at safety. Let me know if I'm lying. We got issues in that category. And we have issues at defensive back. Right? So we got issues across the board as it relates to the defensive side. Let me repeat. We got issues across the board as it relates to the defense. The offense, I think, can bang, bang, bang with you. I think, they are ranked 8th, maybe 10th overall in the National Football League. You got an Ezekiel Elliott. You got an Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup. You got a Connor Williams. That's who you drafted, right? You're supposed to develop him. You got a Zach Martin. You got guys on the offensive side of the ball. Cowboys signed Dak Prescott. Figure this defensive side of the situation out. You ranked 32nd in defense. That's dead last. Of course we can look at COVID. Of course we can look over here at no OTAs training camp. But there's teams that's faced with the same set of circumstances, and you don't hear them crying about it. And last I checked, we didn't have a major catastrophic injury on the defensive side of the ball. Now, I do know that some people will say, well, the offense, the running attack does help out with the defensive attack. But how many times are we going to put the Band-Aid on the bullet wound? You got to invest on your defensive side of the ball. I know the Joneses want to placate this thing and say, nah, we okay. We like our guys. And then they sit back and say, well, our guys, we playing with practice squad guys. Well, hold up. You just said earlier this year that you like your guys. You got to invest in that area. Defense win championships. You got to look at it. You got to. I know. People think that there's only 3 phases in the game. I call it 4 phases. What is the 4th phase, Law? What the hell is that? It's 3. No. It's offense. There's defense. Then there's special teams. Those are the three phases that a lot of people would say. But I'm going to throw in that fourth phase, coaching. Coaches should not be the reason why you lose a game. They should be the ultimate reason why you won it. Now, I do know that a lot of people are going to say, man, what are you talking about, Law? Well, hear me out. When you have a coach, it's kind of like if I were to buy you a chess piece. Just because it's made handcrafted with the best marbles in life, if you don't know what to do with it, you will not win with it, right? Coaches do the same thing. You can have all of the talent in the world. You can implement the best scheme and system. But if you don't know how to operate said scheme or said system and elevate said talent, then it doesn't mean you're a hill of beans. Just because you got a Ferrari doesn't mean that it's going to make you an expert driver. You can give that Ferrari to an 8-year-old. They can't get it out of the parking lot. Now, there may be some that can, but you guys get what I'm talking about, right? Coaches elevate. Coaches are able to look at the whole grasp of everything. And I'm not saying that Mike McCarthy is that dude that can't get things right, because I'm going to give him a mulligan for this year. I'm giving him a mulligan, but for Mike Nolan, good Lord, we're going to have to look at this situation and say, hey, man, the smoke keep following you for a reason, right? So, Cowboy Nation, back to the topic. Who got the leverage? Who got all of the cards in their hand? Is it Dak Prescott, Rain Dakota Prescott, by the way? Or is it Jerry, Wayne Jones, and John Stephen Jones in the draft, in the 2021 draft? Would they look at this thing and say, you know what, Law? We're going to really just draft a quarterback, ship this one off, and wipe our hands with it and see what we can get. Or they should sit back on that pick and say, okay, we're going to trade down. My thing is, don't get too cute with it. A bird in your hand is better than two in the bush. I don't want you to trade back and be looking at this thing saying, okay, damn, we got two tacos 2 years later, you know? And taco is taco, but I'm not trying to throw him under the bus as well. But you guys get what I'm saying, right? Do not get too cute with this thing. Sit back. Let this thing all simmers down, and we'll figure out down the line. I think personally, with the Dak Prescott angle, you sign him, you look at the defense, you draft all what you can with the defense, and you got to go out there and will and deal. Even if you do decide to go defense in this draft, which will be cool. But you got to add complementary pieces. You got to have a difference maker out there. We can't be building the plane while it's in the air for 2021, and we can't have the expectations of some rookie to play without those growing pains, because it will be there. Jeff Okudah is one of them from last year or from this year, if you watch it for this year. Jeff Okudah, not even in the starting rotation for majority of the snaps, but one of the better DBs I've seen coming out of the draft, right? C.J. Henderson, the same exact situation. And we had our Diggs guy showing up, showing out, right? And he was drafted behind both of those guys. But I do know that the draft is a 3-year process opposed to being just one, because everybody and anybody can be hot their first year and disappear their next, right? But what I'm saying is, just slow it down. Look at the cards that's been dealt. Relax. Play them right. Mike McCarthy, I'm talking to you. Play them right. Don't hesitate. Don't sweat. Don't go for it on 4th and forever and then say, okay, if only we executed, we would have made it. That type of stuff, take that out. You can use it for the first year. Mulligan, you've been not coaching for a full year. Maybe you lied to kick it to get the job. But now it's time for you to burn that midnight oil. Burn all of what you can. In 2021, we ain't going to be looking at it like, dog. And I do know that there's a level of optimism. Some people can say, well, we've seen this before. Bad year, then a good year. But these been 2 bad years in a row, 8-8, and then whatever our end record will be this year. We ain't finna be sitting around here talking about, oh man, we going to the Super Bowl in 2021. We want results. Remember that. Everyone have a reason, but results are what matter, right? Cowboy Nation, post me your thoughts, post me your concerns down below. Let me know who you feel have the most leverage and who don't. That's simple. That's been my time. I really thank you all for yours. And remember, you're listening to nothing but the best. Salute. I'm out. Peace.